Hi, I'm Sarah from Emerald Ant, and I'm going to show you how you can make a beautiful woodland headdress for the Bluebell Day Out on May the 16th. It's now May the 22nd. If you prefer, you can make a woodland garland, a bit like what they wear at festivals in Hawaii. And if you don't want to wear your amazing creations, you can give them to a member of your family to wear. But all in all, we want a really good display of bright, happy flowers on the Bluebell Trail. You'll be making 3 different types of flowers. All of them are inspired by flowers in the Bluebell woods at springtime. So we've got a bluebell, of course. We've got a foxglove shape, this one here. And we've got this flower, this little flower here, which is very easy to make and a lot of fun. Now, here's Nick from the Dorset Wildlife Trust. Let's see if he's got some wise woodland words for us. So Nick, could you tell us a little bit about the bluebells, please?
The bluebells, a classic, it's a classic springtime woodland thing, isn't it? That lovely drifts of bluebells. Actually, in Britain, there's quite a British habitat. Actually, it's what we have a very high percentage of the bluebells in the world in Britain, and they just tell us of springtime in the woods, don't they? But they're really important early pollen nectar source. Just about that time, sort of March, the big fat queen bumblebees are coming out of hibernation. They need a good old feast. So it's important for them. They've got some lovely sort of folklore associations. So there's a lovely name for this Grandfir's giggle sticks.
Oh wow!
Which comes from the stems rubbing and making a little giggling sound as you rub them together.
Ooh.
Having said that, you might want to watch out for the fairies when you're picking bluebells. So they're fairy bells is another name for them. But what a beautiful little flower.
Fantastic. I would allow 3 to 4 afternoons for this project, and I'm going to take you through all the making step by step. So in the first instance, session 1, you're going to be making this flower here, which is a kind of frilly flower with lots of layers, quite easy. So see how many you can do in one session. In the second session, we're going to be looking at the bluebell. That is quite complicated, so that might take you the whole afternoon, and that's absolutely fine. See how you can do with that. You can probably do much better than this one. In session number 3, you're going to be looking at the foxglove shape, which is quite easy to do, but still requires a bit of concentration. After that, you're going to be making the headbands, making leaves and shaping them and curling them and fixing them on. Or if you're doing the garlands, you're going to be threading your flowers together on the garlands, and you can make leaves for those as well. And then you're done. Fantastic. Well done. And what will happen next will be us artists will come round and we'll collect all the artwork. We'll take it back to the workshop, and then we'll bring everything to the event on 22nd of May for you to collect and wear, and then you can take it home. So good luck, and I hope you enjoy the workshops. Teachers, please check you have these materials. You should have some templates. This is the one for the session 1. For the bluebell, templates. And for the foxglove, session 3, more templates. You should also have 3 long-armed staplers, a Pritt stick, a box of staples, a number of scissors, around 26 pairs, 30 pairs, these green sticks, skewers. They'll be blunted for curling. You're also going to have some pipe cleaners, and we'll supply a couple of these jars, spice jars, but the children need to bring these in, please, for doing the bluebell in session 2. Also in your box you've got lots of these headbands. There should be enough for each child, and they'll be reinforced on the back with some masking tape. You'll have paper clips, but they'll be the wire ones, not like that. You will have a roll of sellotape on a dispenser, a roll of masking tape, and some ribbon on a roll. And some needles. Right, for crepe paper supplies, we've got for session 1 strips of different colours. They'll all be cut ready to use. Session 2, the bluebells. You'll have a lot more than these, but those are the colours you need. For the foxgloves in session 3, you've got different colours, warm pinks, reds, yellows there, plus some thicker crepe paper for making the little tongues that go in the flowers. And for session 4, making the leaves, you've got thick crepe paper, strips of. Please could you provide in class the following: pencils, whiteboard markers, they're just for opening up the flowers so you're not writing with them, and biros for the children to put their names on their work. Please make sure they put them on with biro and not pencil. And that's it. Session 1, step 1. If you're making a headband, you're going to take one of these green strips that's got a bit of masking tape on the other side, and first thing you're going to do is write your name with a biro on the back in nice big letters, and put your class also on there. Now you can see how many flowers you can fit on your headband. So if I undo this headband here, I would say on your strips you need to put about 5 flowers on there. If you're making a garland, you need to have quite a few more. So what I suggest you do is team up with a friend. Both of you create lots of flowers, and then at the end, when we put everything together, then you can work together and create one garland. Now let's have a look at this crepe paper. You've got several different thicknesses here, but generally you've got the thin stuff like this, and you've got this thicker stuff, which is, if you look closely at it, you can see there's lots of lines there, and if you stretch it that way you can make it much bigger. But if you stretch it in the same direction the lines are going, you're not going to make it bigger at all. Okay, so with this you can stretch it out and soften it at the edges, and it's more like normal paper then, and on that area you can stick it with the Pritt stick. If you stick it straight onto the really crepey bits, it's not going to stick very well and it might fall off. But adults are going to have to come round after you've stuck these on with the stapler as well, otherwise there's a chance they might fall off in a week or so. Okay, this thinner stuff here is really good for doing layers because you can cut lots of this at the same time, and you can shape it a little bit but not as much as the thick stuff. Okay, also in here you've got a stick, a green stick, which you can use for curling. So let me show you. So if you get that onto the stick and roll it, it will stay in a very nice sculptural way. Do that again. There we go. We've also got skewers here. They're much thinner for you to get really good spirally effects, and you might do this, for example, with the stamens for your bluebells, the spindly bits that go inside. Right, let's make the first flower. It's this frilly one. It's a bit like a carnation. These are the materials and equipment you need. So what you're going to do first is layer up the paper. So you can take 5 squares. You need 4 thin, 1 thick or 5 thin, and get that all layered up on top. And then Adult's going to come round and staple it right in the middle there. Okay. And then you're going to put your template or the tape on top. I might just supply some templates for you. Okay, and draw around that with a pencil. You don't really want to use a biro, otherwise you'll get really thick, heavy lines. Right, now it's time to cut it out. Now, notice that I'm holding it all together quite carefully. You want to cut all those layers out at the same time. Right, now what we're going to do next is take the top layer and we're going to pull it up away from the others and pinch it, and then give it a little twist as well. Okay, just like that. Then separate the next one, and with this one you don't want to pinch it so hard, but really what you want to do is pinch it gently at the bottom. You see there? So that it forms not such a tight shape, but it's following some lines there. The next one, pinch it in the same places on the sides. Same as the next layer underneath. And finally, you've got the white layer. You can do whatever colours you like, of course. And with this one, you can be a little bit more sculptural with this. So let's try. You've got this lovely crepe paper, stretchy, beautiful crepe paper, and you can pull that out whichever way you like. Okay. There we go. And if you want, you can just cut it a little bit, shape it a bit with your scissors. There we are. Beautiful. Now, see how many of those you can do in this one session. Session 2, making the bluebell. Now, the bluebell is quite a challenge to make. Basically, I would say spend the whole afternoon getting the bluebell right. And if you do a really good job, you might make 2 or 3 and maybe share them with your friends. Okay, so what you're going to need is something like a spice jar. That's exactly the right size for rolling the paper for the bluebells. You're going to need a pencil, Pritt stick, something like a whiteboard marker or a marker pen, not for making any marks with, but actually for moulding the paper, some scissors. The templates are this bluebell template and this template for the stamens that are going to go inside. Some sellotape. Right, I think that's it. And in terms of crepe paper, if you take a piece of yellow and a piece of blue, that would be great. So first of all, you're going to draw around the template. Use a pencil so that you don't leave lots of nasty biro lines. Okay, these are the petals, and you're going to put the glue along that side. Okay, so that's the bluebell bit, the outer flower, and then you've got these stamens, and you see they're in 4 pieces here. So rather than draw around that, I'm just going to cut this out quite roughly actually, because it doesn't matter too much. But you definitely want it to be narrower than this, so it should sit on there, something like that. And when you've done that, you're going to cut this into 4 strips, but not all the way down. Okay, only to about there. Okay, so now we're going to form these stamens, the bits that go inside. Let me show you on here. They're these twiddly bits. The way we do that, first of all, you get in there with your fingers and you fold it first, and then very gently twist it. Be careful not to tear it, because it is quite delicate. And keep twisting it the same way. If you start twisting it the other way, what's going to happen? Yeah, it's going to come undone. Okay. If you've got very dry hands, this is quite tricky. But you don't want to really work with wet fingers either, otherwise you'll dissolve the crepe paper. Okay. And once you've done that, you can probably twizzle it a bit. Twizzling is quite a technique. So there's 2. And these, because I'm using this lovely yellow, it's going to look very vibrant inside the bluebell. But you can use white if you prefer, or a different colour. Right, last one. This needs to be done quite gently. You can always practice on a bit of rough paper if you like. Okay, so it should look a bit like that. Now what you're going to do next is get your Pritt stick. This is going to go on here, somewhere like that. You want to make sure that these stamens come out the end of here. Okay, and we're just going to stick it on. Put quite a bit of glue on. And you want to press it down really well. Okay, and there as well. Now with this glue, each time you use it, you need to roll it back in and put the lid on, otherwise they dry out. Now we're going to use the spice jar next. Hopefully you've bought one in from home, or you've got one to share around. Well, I'd say quite a few to share around really. And these are just the right size for rolling up the bluebell and making it into a cylinder. So we're going to put glue down one side, and again make sure you put enough on there. So I've got the glue side away from me, and the lid of the spice jar is pointing down towards the petals. I'm going to slide the jar out this way in the end, and I don't want it to get stuck with the lid. Okay, so I'm going to roll it up. You can see why I suggest that you spend the whole afternoon doing this, because you might find the first one or two bluebells are quite hard to do. So don't expect amazing results early on, and it'll look like that at this point. Then you can slide that down a little bit inside, push it down, and then very carefully just gather up those bits and just make it into a little twizzle at the end. Be careful not to rip it, you don't want holes in there, alright? And here you can start just curling the ends. Where's my skewer? There it is, it's hiding under the pencil. Just go. Okay, now see what I'm doing here? Laying it on my finger, putting the skewer on top and with my thumb on top of there, and then I'm just rolling it, gathering that bluebell petal into the skewer, okay? Rolling it backwards and forwards. And you can see it's made a lovely curl. This is what really makes it look like a bluebell, I think. Okay. And you keep going round. And again, you might need to practice this. And you can also do these in the same way, but you can go longer with these and make more of a spiral. When you look at these on a real bluebell, they're kind of pointing in all sorts of different directions. And they give it a lovely sort of raggedy, natural look. Some of them are quite spiraled, like that. There we go, quite nice. And then what you're going to do next is pull that a bit further, a bit more out, and twist it again in there, and at this point you just take it out. Okay, now you see it's a bit square, isn't it, down there. To stop it unravelling anymore, take a little bit of tape and just put it around the end there. It'll probably be fine if you don't use the tape, but it just gives you a bit of reassurance. And then you're just going to pull these ends a little bit, very gently, don't rip it. And it's starting to look much more like a bluebell. And then with a marker pen, you can just get in and push that end there. Okay, and there you are. One very nice bluebell. Now, I do realise that some of the twizzling of the stamens, that is quite tricky for little hands. So we are going to provide you with some pipe cleaners that you can use instead, although it would be great if everyone could try out the other method first. So if you're using the pipe cleaners, this is how you would put them in. So you've cut out your bluebell shape, and then really you want to shape these pipe cleaners before you put them on. So just wrap them round a stick, the skewer, like that. These ones I've already done. Okay. Make sure they come out beyond petals again, over here. And then you're just going to stick them on with some sellotape, being careful not to bunch up the blue crepe paper underneath. You can use 2 pieces if you like. There we go. Elongate it a bit with your hand. That way it looks much more like a bluebell with those lines going down. And then just grab something like a marker pen and open it up underneath. And there you've got another bluebell there. Okay. All I ask is that you don't cut these ends with our scissors, because inside of those pipe cleaners you've got wire, and if you use those scissors on these, they will blunt the scissors. Session 3, making the foxgloves. First of all, let's see what Nick has to say about foxgloves.
Well, yeah, they're like the bluebells. They're actually a great source of pollen and nectar. You know, they're another plant you might know. Himalayan balsam is called bees' bottoms, and you always see the little bees' bottoms sticking out at the bottom. And you know, it's a lovely name, foxglove, isn't it? But they, you know, as you all know, I'm sure they are poisonous as well. So they have this association with witches, and yeah, you do have to watch out for them. They're very similar to another plant called figwort, which has got really lovely healing properties. So yeah, beware in the woods. But a brilliant flower, the foxglove, and it'll leap up in a place where there's a bit of space been created. Yeah. So yeah, so if you clear a bit of the woods for replanting, you'll find the foxgloves jumping up on that bare ground. They love it.
There'll be a lot more in Wrexham Woods then, with where they sell the trees.
There could well be. Yeah, really look out for for a patch of sort of just so bountiful, aren't they, foxgloves?
They're very striking.
Yeah. Altogether.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nick.
Right, session 3. We're going to be making a foxglove shape here. Now this one's got a little tongue coming out of it, which is a bit unusual for foxgloves. They don't really have that. But I've just put it in for decorative effect. And you can see it's sort of cone shaped. It's got this lovely curled edges here at the top and at the bottom. And yeah, it's a really lovely shape, very sculptural. And you need the thin crepe paper for this. These are the materials you'll need. I'm going to make the next one out of red, because you can make it out of any colour you like. It doesn't have to be pink. And this is a nice thin piece of red. And in the middle I'm going to make a tongue out of the thicker crepe paper, which is nice and sculptural, and I can stretch it and I can curl it really well. Okay. So first of all, you need to check that your templates fit onto the crepe paper. Now these are half templates, so we just want to check that they're going to fit on. So that's the big leaf, that's half of it, and if I fold that over again, that's the whole of it. So I know that if I cut down there, that's going to be big enough for my big leaf. And I'm going to do the same thing with the smaller one. Okay, fold it over. Yeah, it's going to be fine. Right. And then you're going to fold this in half, both pieces. Okay. And we're going to put that on top. And with the paper clips, you can use 2 if you like. Just clip that on. those to hold it in place, and that way you don't really have to draw around it. That's the first one, and when you open it out, you'll see you've got the whole of the lower petal, and this one presto, the big lower petal and the smaller petal that goes on top. Now I'm going to take a piece of thick crepe paper, any colour will do, and I'm just going to cut a strip out of that, and because I want it nice and pointed at one end, I'm going to out like that. You see it's got a point at the end. I'm going to stretch this end bit here and make it soft so I can stick that on with the Crit Stick. Okay, and that's going to go on the lower petal, the big one, and I'm going to put it to one side of the crease. You see you've got the crease down the middle where you folded it. I'm going to stick that to one side, so it's going to go here. And you want it coming out the end. There we go. And you can curl the end if you like. Put that lid back on. So with the stick here, I'm just going to spiral that up. Roll it backwards and forwards a few times. There we go, I've got a lovely spiral on that. I might actually stick that down. The next thing to do is to put glue along the edges, and you only want to put the glue from here to here, and the same on this side, from here to here. You don't want to put glue on that open end. So we're going to do it like this. See how I'm gluing from the middle to the outside? What would happen if I glued from the outside in? That would bring the paper in and crumple it all up. So always towards the outer edge of your shape. Glue back on. Now I'm going to match this up, match these sides up, so we've got, they should be exactly the same length. Look at that. And press it down really nicely. Now we're going to fold it where it's creased, and again, and when you fold those in, you'll find that those two sides will also match up. It's already got glue on it, so all you need to do is press it down. Make sure you press it really well. Okay, and now you look like you've glued it all together. You'll think, oh no! But what we're going to do is just get our stick, well, we can separate it out with our fingers. And just get your marker pen in there and gently separate it out. And there you'll see you'll have that lovely foxglove cup there, you see. And then you're going to get your flower stick and curl the ends, so match it up, roll it along the surface of the ends. Okay, and then the other side, same again. And there you've got your foxglove. You can twizzle the end a bit if you want. Teachers, when you come to staple this onto the hats, you want to be stapling from right in the inside. I'm just going to give that an extra little curl there. Backwards and forwards a few times. That's better. There we go. Session 4, making your leaves and finishing. Now you can see how many flowers you can fit on your headband. So if I undo this headband here, I would say on your strips you need to put about 5 flowers on there. If you're making a garland with a friend, now's the time to see how many flowers you can bring together. Now, flowers don't come without leaves, do they? So we need to make some to go under the flowers. You're going to be doing this using the thick crepe paper, and you'll have 2 long strips of different greens. You're also going to need a pair of scissors and a stick for curling your leaves. So first of all, cut your strips into leaf shapes. So with this strip I'm going to make about 6 leaves, and then now we do know that these are going to stretch beautifully, but before we stretch them we're going to cut our leaves out. And we want one end to be a little bit flatter, like a line across there, and the other to be pointed. Okay, that kind of shape. So go ahead and cut out 6 of those shapes. So I've got 6 of these lighter green leaves. All of them have got pointed ends and a sort of flat end. And I've gone ahead and cut out another 6 out of the darker green, exactly the same, pointed end and a flat end. Now, with your 12 leaves, you're going to start curling them. So using the stick again, just lay the leaf against your finger there, and you're working with this beautiful crepe paper now, so it's going to curl really nicely. Backwards and forwards, and off it comes. Okay, so there you are, that's that lovely curl. And at the end, just pull that out. Remember how you saw, remember the demonstration at the beginning? And you've got that soft paper there to stick it on with the glue. Okay, so now I've curled and softened all 12 of my leaves, and they're ready to go on my headband or on the garland. Okay, and now it's the final step for the headbands. So bring all of your leaves and flowers together in a pile. I bet they look beautiful. What you're going to do is start with the leaves underneath. Okay, they're going to go under the flowers. So put your headband on there, like that. And you need to put a good bit of glue onto there. There we are. Right, and then we're going to start sticking them on. So your curled end is going to come off the edges. So start in the middle, press it on where you've softened it. That's going to stick well there. I think I'm going to do alternate ones. So my next one's going to go out to the other side. You can do it how you like, you don't have to do it like this. Really big ones, maybe fit them on a bit more because you don't want too much coming off the edges. You can trim it later though. It needs a little bit more glue under there. So I've stuck all my leaves on, and I rather like it where I've got alternate ones like this. They're quite nice together, and where they're too big, I'm just going to trim them off here, for example, and just recurl that end. The curls need to be facing up towards you, not going under. This one's going under, so I've lost that shape there. But what I can do is get the stick and recurl it so the curl's facing upwards. You can also curl the sides if you really like, because they look really nice when they're curled as well. Okay, and when you've done that, make sure it's all stuck down really well. There's a bit of a flap there and there, so I'm just going to do that, put a bit more glue on. And now teachers, you're going to come round and staple those leaves on. Try and get 2 at a time, then there's less ends coming through the other side. So now you can arrange your flowers in the way you want them to go on, okay? There's not a lot of point in sticking these on with Pritt Stick because they will fall off after a week or so. So it's much better for you just to arrange them, and then the teachers can see where they are and they'll come round with the stapler. Now teachers, when you're doing the stapling, you will want to get inside of these sort of foxglove characters. So yeah, get the staple right inside there. It's quite hard for me to show you this, but inside the flower head, staple it on like that, and you can do the end as well. That way you won't misshape the flower, it'll still be open. These ones, they're quite easy to do. Just staple onto the sides. And that is your headband. Very beautiful. So when you've done that, please just pick it up, shake it, make sure everything's stuck on well, and then you can gather all of those, make sure the name's on the end, and put them in a bag for us, and we will do the rest. And then we will finish them off. So we're going to put foam tape over all those staple ends on the other sides and elastic on, okay, so that they're really nice and comfortable and easy to wear. And we'll make sure the name is put back on as well. Okay. Now, if you're doing the garland, I'm going to show you how you thread it up. So you've got, you should have maybe 10 or 12 or 14 flowers, all different. These round ones that we did early on, they work particularly well on the garland. So if you've got lots of those, these ones, that's really good. Okay, you've got all your leaves that have been curled. You see I've curled them a bit on the edges here as well, which gives them a really nice effect like that. Right, next step for the garlands. You've got your flowers and leaves, and now you're going to thread up a piece of ribbon. So you want a needle with a big eye like this one. Hopefully that's focused. And they are in a tube in the box, okay? And a piece of ribbon. Measure this up around your necks, children, and then have it cut. But I would say no more than 80 centimetres. So then thread up your needle. It might be a little bit narrow for the ribbon, but just push it through. It doesn't matter if it puckers a bit, and pull about that much through, okay? And then you want to tie a knot at the end to stop the flowers or leaves falling off. And you're going to start threading them on. So pick quite a tight one to start with, one that's not likely to fray, and just push the needle through. Don't go all the way through right in the centre because that's hard to do, but just to one side of the centre and pull it through. Okay. And do the same with the leaves. With the leaves, just fold them over at the end and put your needle through 2 layers there. Then they're less likely to come off. And if you want to make a space between your flowers or leaves and the next one you put on, then just tie a little knot. If you think you've not got enough flowers or leaves, then what you might want to do is to tie a knot so that you've got a space there. Then you can space them out better. Right. The bluebells. So with the bluebells, I'm going to go through near the end there. You can always wrap the thread around if you're worried about it coming off. There we go. And once you've put them all on, you're just going to bring the 2 ends together and tie a knot. Pull it nice and tight. And there you have your lovely garland. When you finish your garlands, just make sure that your name's on them by writing it on a piece of tape, and then you're just going to stick it. You might need to put your class number on there as well. Stick it onto the garland like that so we can see whose it is. And now you're done. Just think, all those weeks of hard work have really paid off. And you've got some fantastic headdresses and garlands. And we're really looking forward to seeing you on May the 22nd. Don't forget to tell your parents it's May the 22nd.